Danae Kyriakopoulou, she's a senior economist at the Center for Economics and Business Research, is here to talk about all things Greece. Danae, so there has been a deal and it looks as though things were positive. Is this just short-term relief in the long term? Is there still very high risk with regards to this deal?
Yes, there are a lot of risks. Firstly, the deal has to be passed through the Greek parliament, which needs to be done by Wednesday. So that is the first hurdle that we need to pass. And then after that, we need to implement this reform. So you have these two steps on the Greek government side. And then, of course, the particularities of the debt restructuring and even the fiscal targets have not exactly been set in this deal. And these are all conditional on whether the reforms are passed and implemented in the Greek parliament. So there are some risks ahead still.
Hi, Danae. Looking at the deal, I mean, obviously, if it gets passed, it's one thing, but is this a sustainable deal? Is this a final solution in terms of the Greek situation, or will we be back here again in a year or two discussing a further rescue package for Greece?
I wouldn't completely exclude the possibility that we'll be in this place again a few years down the line. I think the reforms themselves are actually quite positive for the Greek economy if they get implemented. There are reforms that were proposed in the first place, in the first bailouts as well. Well, of course, we didn't see these working very well the first time. I think a critical thing that is missing is the debt restructuring or debt relief. So I wouldn't put any bets on it yet until I see what happens with the debt restructuring, which is something we'll see after Wednesday.
Speaking of the debt restructuring, I mean, if they do actually go out and, say, extend the payout period and reduce the interest rate, wouldn't they actually effectively be reducing the present value of the debt anyway? It would be as effective, would it not, as basically reducing the debt by, a nominal debt by a percentage. If you just push it out a couple more years and reduce your interest rate, the present value will come down anyway?
Well, they are two very separate things. I don't think it would have the same effect. You have to consider that Greece is an economy that has already suffered a lot. Its GDP is down by quite a lot and unemployment is very high. You can't have debt restructuring in that sense by extending maturities and so on be enough when you have an economy where 1 in 2 young people is unemployed. I think you need bolder measures. But of course, a debt restructuring would still be a step in the right direction.
Danae, who are the real winners and losers in this scenario? We've been seeing headlines that this is a lot better. Greek banks will at least now have liquidity. But in terms of the broader picture, who's losing? Who's winning here?
I think everyone is losing a little something. I think we shouldn't have gotten to that place in the first place. It's a very worse place to be than where we were in the beginning of the negotiations. The Greek government on its side has, of course, lost a lot. The package that is currently on the table is very far off from its original mandate, or even the package that was proposed in the referendum and the Greek people rejected. So the Greek government has lost its credibility in negotiating so fiercely in the past 5 months. The German and the Eurozone hardliners have also lost their credibility in a way over the weekend after proposing some measures such as the creation of a privatization fund based in Luxembourg or this temporary Grexit idea. It shows that there is no real commitment to the Eurozone project. The IMF also lost a bit because it was saying that it wanted to have the debt relief in the package, and that's not in the package now. But of course, the biggest losers are the Greek people that keep suffering the consequences of these fierce negotiations that have not really led to a better deal.
Speaking about hardliners in Europe, if you look at some of the tweets coming out from some of the Baltic states and even places like Finland, you realize that the Germans aren't actually the most extreme or most right-wing of the other partners in the Eurozone. Just how much better a deal can the Greeks expect to get in the future down the line if they're already experiencing such a negative feedback from the Eurozone partners at the moment?
Well, there are some Eurozone partners that are facing harder living conditions than Greece, and that one may say that they have a right to raise the question of why they should be subsidizing Greece when they have a lower GDP per capita themselves. But of course, you have to remember that GDP per capita is not the only thing to look at. Greece is an economy that is operating way below its potential. We have 60% unemployment among the youth. That's not a sustainable condition. It means that the economy can do so much better. And I think that's the thing we should be looking at rather than just relative living standards.
Danae, thank you so much. That was Danae Kyriakopoulou. She's a senior economist at the Center for Economics and Business Research, talking all things Greece and of